Kate, just close the door so nobody comes in and disturbs you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mayuki Rector, your host of this debate. Today we will be talking about how GMOs affect the planet and the human health. If you don't know what GMOs are, then here is a brief explanation. GMOs stand for genetically modified organisms. It is a very complicated process of taking a gene and inserting it into another organism's gene. For example, taking an animal gene and inserting it into another plant gene. The first commercially produced GMOs were flavor saver tomatoes. On May 18, 1994, the FDA completed its evaluation of the flavor saver tomatoes. The tomatoes were supposed to be tasty and were supposed to have more flavor in it, but many consumers said that they were flavorless. Today, we will have two special guests on our debate today. Please give a warm welcome to Kate Narishi and Marin Sakata. Our first guest is Kate, a new and upcoming GMO specialist. She is defending the GMOs. Her job is to find and negotiate deals to sell GMOs to food production companies. She also researches new GMOs and is involved in many tests and experiments. What is your opinion on GMOs, Kate?
Well, I know a lot of people who think GMOs are a very unhealthy thing and shouldn't be used or created. But I disagree because there are many misconceptions about GMOs and there are many positive things about GMOs too. GMOs can be very helpful while farming to keep away pests and can help people from malnutrition in poor countries. Also, GMOs are not harmful to insects such as butterflies, contrary to popular belief.
Thank you, Kate. That gave us a brief explanation of your perspective. Our second competitor is Marin. She is an organic farmer who produces organic vegetables and sells them to food markets. She is opposing GMOs. What is your opinion on GMOs, Kate? Marin?
I understand that GMOs help in places like third world countries as nutritious supply, but GMOs are not my favorite. In my perspective, I think GMO is a bad idea because they are artificial and unhealthy. If I have to make a choice between the cheap GMO and the expensive organic food products, I would choose the organic food that is produced without any chemicals.
Thank you, Marin. I have heard lots of things on GMOs having negative effects and positive effects, but I'm not sure these quotes are reliable. That is why my first question is, how do GMOs affect the human body? And if they do, how do they affect the human body negatively or positively? Kate, you may go first.
Thank you. GMOs can help the human body by supplying extra nutrients to edible parts in crops. This can be helpful in third world countries where many people are malnutritious because with more nutrients in food, they can get more nutrients from crops.
GMOs are artificially made, which is very unhealthy for you. You may develop major health problems like autism, Alzheimer's disease, and cancer, and other very serious diseases. It is proven that you can develop health problems with GMOs.
Do you have any evidence to support your information?
My evidence is, an example of nutrition GMOs is called golden rice. Golden rice produces beta-carotene in the edible parts of rice, which increases the amount of vitamin A in the rice. This is a big breakthrough because even though rice produces beta-carotene naturally, it does not produce it in the edible parts of the crop. There is a project called the Golden Rice Project, which was created to test golden rice and see its functionality. The Golden Rice Project has calculated that the life of 25% of malnutritious children could be spared by providing them with diets that included crops like golden rice with added beta-carotene.
An example is a woman tested her child who has an allergic reaction. The daughter went on a 4-month GMO-free diet. After the 4 months, her daughter's allergic reactions began to go away.
Thank you. That gave me a very detailed explanation. My second question is, how do GMOs affect the insects living off the crops? You may go first, Maren.
There has been an experiment where monarch butterflies were fed Bt maize and died. This study shows that the reason why monarch butterflies are declining is because of eating Bt maize. This is a problem because without monarch butterflies, we would not be able to survive. I think it is a bad idea to produce jam crops. I honestly wanted to stop now.
Yes, I know a study has been done saying Bt maize pollen harms the monarch butterflies. But this study is not valid because the study was based only on experiments in the laboratory and did not correspond to real conditions in nature. Monarch butterflies do not feed on maize plants, so the only way they would be affected is if they feed on wild plants dusted by Bt maize pollen. Wild plants covered with significant amount of maize pollen are only found within a few meters of maize fields and only for a short period of the year, so the effect on butterflies is insignificant.
Finally, my last question is, how do GMOs affect the environment regarding the plants and soil?
GMOs can be beneficial for the environment and farming. A GMO called Bt is one helpful GMO. Bt stands for Bacillus thuringiensis, and it's a kind of bacteria. Bt has a gene that kills pests without pesticides. Bt protects the crops from being eaten, so it is helpful in poor countries where they can't afford pesticides because they can grow crops without bugs eating them by using Bt GMOs. Also, this is helpful for the environment because by using Bt, farmers don't have to use pesticides to keep away the bugs, which means by reducing the amount of pesticides used, the soil won't be as toxic.
The problem with GMOs is that once we produce GMOs, the GMO seeds may spread to other organic crops. This is a major problem because if the seeds spread to organic crops and somebody produces crops labeled as organic, it may cause problems between the producer and consumer for labeling the product wrong.
Thank you, Kate and Maren. That is the end of our debate, and thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask us. Yes?
Around the world, how much of the food that's produced is currently genetically modified? I'm not asking you for an exact figure, but I'm just curious. I have got no idea.
Well, GMO is a new technology. It's only been around here for the past 30 years or so. But it depends on which area you're talking about because there are countries that ban GMOs completely. There are also countries that can't afford GMOs. So it would depend. But nowadays, GMOs are definitely becoming more and more popular.
Are there any countries who are producing it that you know of?
Oh yeah, U.S. is a major producer of GMOs.
There's also Canada. Canada has some companies that produces major GMOs.
Yes?
Why the emphasis on butterflies?
Because because butterflies, the plating is a major problem nowadays. Is one of the major problems, and a lot of people are saying that GMOs is what is causing these butterflies to decrease. So yeah.
In the Bt maize, there's a type of protein that insects can't eat, and if they eat the protein, they could die.
So yeah, it's kind of been a major concern. Yes?
How did GMOs start?
Well, GMOs has had a really long history. There wasn't, you heard, the first GMO was the flavor saver tomato, but GMOs were created before that, but they weren't really produced or sold because they were through rigorous testing. But GMOs began around the 1800s, and that was when theory of like heredity, which is like how genes passed down in families was kind of introduced, and that kind of led to the production of GMOs. Yes?
So given what you've learned through your research, or do you plan to make changes in your daily life? And if so, how difficult do you think that might be? I mean, is it labeled clearly in stores so that you can make that choice?
Well, for GMOs being labeled, no. Right now, Japan doesn't label GMOs, like doesn't say this is like a GMO. There are ways of finding GMOs. We talked about that in our down in the cafeteria with our normal presentations. As for what we do for change, for me, I wouldn't really do anything different because my parents and I already don't like eat GMOs. We are very careful with our food, so I wouldn't really have anything else change.
Thinking about the future and the population around the world increasing more and more, what do you think the future of GMOs is?
Well, for the since the population is growing, some people, like a lot of people, say that there is enough food in the world to sustain everyone, and the problem is distributing it. Yeah, that's true. But like there will be a time when the earth can't be farmed anymore, which means the amount of food can't increase anymore. And in that time, I predict that GMOs would be like needed a lot. But right now it might still be needed, but I prefer GMOs are increasing. I think GMOs would increase because like a lot of technologies nowadays are increasing more and more.
So in general then, after all of your research and you've presented the benefits, the advantages and the disadvantages, what are the three of your personal opinions? Are you for or against GMOs?
Well, for me, since I've grown up thinking GMOs are bad, or like things that aren't organic, or the pesticides are bad, it's hard for me to change that opinion, even after researching for 8 weeks. I'd say that it's still negative, but I've learned that there can be ways to use them positively, but we just have to use them in a responsible way so that they don't unintentionally harm things.
I still have a negative view because it's on our research it said that it could cause health problems, but it still helps. So I'm kind of in between.
I am in between also because it can cause major health problems like cancer, which is a very big problem. But also for the farmer's perspective, I think it's really helpful for them because they can produce double the amount of organic farmers. So I am in the middle.
Any other questions?
Now that you have seen the facts from this debate, please circle your opinion in the ballot and put them in the ballot box, which will be
Over there.
Shall we pass them out to each row for everyone to pass along?
And we thank you again for coming to listen to our presentation. We hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.